I think so many people like look at a marathon, ultra marathon, and they go, you know what, I'm gonna give that a go. And they just throw themselves into the deep end and then either get injured or they go, I hate this.
It's one of those sports that is difficult to love at the beginning.
100%.
You have to it's sort of like, it's like coffee.
Yeah.
You know, like nobody really loves coffee when they first drink it.
It takes the time. You got to get used to it a little bit.
It's an acquired taste.
100% acquired taste. I think as well, there's like a difficulty threshold you have to get over before you can start enjoying it. For me, it's like the first year of running. I was like, what are people on about? This runner's high, this whole like nice experience, and like people like all looking really happy when they're running. I didn't smile for the first year of running until I realized I finally got to a point where I could like hold a 10K like pretty decently. And I was like, oh, it's actually quite nice. I'm rather proud of myself here.
I'm just thinking about that. I hated running, I think, when I first started. Like just thinking about it, I really like it would really hurt me.
Yeah.
Because like you, I think we're naturally quite competitive.
Yeah.
And you know, I had friends that ran, and so I would set off running with them,
Mm-hmm.
and I would be out of breath so quickly.
Yeah.
And like in pain so quickly. And to your point, they'd just be like speaking in full sentences and like nose breathing, and I would just be struggling. And I think it is about taking it slow. Almost better to give yourself, you know, the goal once you've done some of the work.
Yeah.
Kind of like, you know, starting a startup and wanting to be $1 billion company straight away without any foundation. You know, it's a difficult thing to realize. It's like with running, it's better to build some kind of foundation before looking at, say, your first half or first marathon.
100%. I was quite lucky because I was getting into it just before COVID, and then obviously like COVID, there was no races, no nothing. So my first like 2 years of doing it, I didn't have this idea of running a race or a marathon or an event, like nothing at all. I just had to spend 2 years of not having this pressure of like, right, you need to sign up for this, because there's nothing to sign up for. I was great. I was just like, I was out running as much as I wanted or as far as I wanted to, without this like overwhelming pressure of like, right, you got to do these types of workouts and this specific workout to get this specific outcome for this specific race. I had no experience of going to like a race or a marathon, anything like that at all. I just ran for the sake of, oh, this is a really fun thing I get to do. And like, oh, look, I'm getting fitter. I'm like respecting myself a bit more by taking myself out each day. Like that in itself is like an enjoyable thing. That's kind of what I tell anyone who's getting into it. It's like that in itself is far greater than the outcome of a race or a marathon. They're cool, but you know, the medal, like you don't wear that thing every day. You know, it's just sitting up there on the wall. Like you don't. It's all the other things that come with it are the most important parts to it.
So by respecting yourself a bit more, do you mean kind of doing the difficult thing and feeling a sense of pride?
100%. I mean, that's what I always say to most people, like that's what you get out of this. A time at a race, honestly, no one cares about your time of year. You care about it because you worked really hard for it, and that's great. But ultimately, like the things that last with you is like your standards, your disciplines, all the things that come as a result of like committing to a training block or improving. And then you get to look back and be like, wow, I'm a lot faster, I'm a lot fitter. You know, I've learned a lot about myself. I've learned what it means to push myself. Yeah, cool. The cherry on top of the cake is the medal and the marathon and the big day and that kind of stuff. That's great and everything. But take that away, you've still got all these amazing things that have happened to you. And I think that's the thing that gets overlooked a lot of the time. Because again, through social media, it's the race day is the thing that everyone's like, oh my God, this is an amazing experience. And that's the thing that you get really excited about, this big event. But again, a lot of the time, like, you know, if you don't hit a time, a lot of people feel really, they feel really disappointed. It's like, well, hang on a minute, you've just dedicated 3 months of your life to getting fitter, faster, like waking up earlier, like improving all these areas of your life. But that's so much more important than getting a medal or hitting a finish line. Like the finish line is over in a few minutes. You take the medal off the next day, unless you're one of those people that wears it for a week afterwards. In that case, like, just stop doing that. It's, you know, all the sort of people that have it up on the wall behind them on a podcast.
Actually, these are
they're not yours.
They are actually.
Oh, okay,
they needn't be. It's just
no.
It's because you see, you
got to decorate the set. I get it.
We're a running specific podcast.
Valid.
See, and these are moments in not necessarily my. These are you know.
Yeah.
These are marathon medals and,
they're cool.
Shoes, and you know, I think it's
you got to keep them.
Nothing to do with me, really. No, they just look nice.
They do. To be fair, they do have that. I got that one last year at Berlin. I think it's the coolest medal.
Yeah.
But so nice.
Last year at Berlin.
Yeah.
Very hot.
Boiling.
Shocker.
Terrible day.
Yeah.
But that's the thing.
Did you have
like,
a good one?
No, terrible. I was 3:30. I was shooting for like a 3:05, 3:10. And after like 5 minutes in, I was like, this is not going well at all.
It was grim.
It was horrible. But but even then it was like, okay, but the point being, I still finished that, wasn't upset with myself, wasn't disappointed. It was like, I still trained really hard for that race. I got a lot faster. I know that training block was pretty enjoyable. And I was like, okay, this is cool. And it just happens on the day, really hot. I still got to run around Berlin, be involved in a world marathon major, and like appreciate that that's a really cool thing that, several years ago, I wouldn't even dreamed of doing something like that. So for me, it's like, okay, I'll take that away from this race, as opposed to being like, did I hit this time that absolutely no one cares about other than me?
Yeah.
And so it's great. And it's like, okay, well, cool, give it another crack elsewhere.
I think that the focus on the time is useful for the training, right?
100%.
I think what happens on race day happens on race day, right?
Yeah.
And you either have a good day or you don't, and that's that. I think broadly speaking, you should know if you really give yourself to a block properly, as I'm experiencing now,
for sure.
You should know pretty much within reason where you're going to end up, right?
Yeah.
Providing you don't have some nightmare on the day, which of course is possible. I love what you said about it having a positive knock-on effect in your life. I feel exactly the same way. For me, running as a sport has such positive knock-on effects everywhere else in my life. I feel like it benefits my marriage. I think it makes me a better father. I think it makes me a better businessman. Genuinely, because the discipline that comes with it and the gains that come with it are kind of they transcend running. It's not just about getting faster or fitter. It's in order to stick with it and do what's required of whatever plan you set yourself. You have to kind of adapt around it, set yourself discipline and, be around for it. But as mentioned, that has a knock-on effect into other things. And I think people see these training plans sometimes as like a sacrifice or as like incredibly time consuming. It's no more time consuming than normal training. It's 100%. Just structured. Built in a way that is designed to make you a more efficient and better runner.
100%. I mean, the whole thing with running making you better in other areas of life is just that. You have to take a hard look at your standards. You have to give up other things to make that happen. You go, right, what am I willing to give up? Well, maybe the Friday night pints I'm going to have to knock on the head, because Saturday long runs after a few beers isn't actually that fun to try and knock out and do. So you go, okay, well, that's one better decision I can make. Okay, well, maybe I need to start going to bed a little bit earlier and maybe not scrolling my phone late at night. Okay, that's another better decision. All of a sudden, you make these incremental better decisions across the board, and then you go, oh wow, and then you finish the training block and you're still making really good decisions or smart decisions. Yeah. And then I think it just puts up a big mirror to a lot of standards you already have set for yourself, and then it kind of forces you to improve them. Either the running gets better and your standards improve, or your standards don't improve, the running doesn't really get much better. I've tried to balance having going out loads, and when I first started getting into running, and I realized why am I not getting better at this? And it's because all the other areas of my life I haven't taken a look at and gone, well, maybe I should stop doing that, or maybe this isn't that beneficial for it, or maybe staying up on weekends till crazy early in the morning, or maybe maybe I should just go to bed at a sensible time. All of a sudden I was like, damn. Then it's eating better. And it's annoying because it works. It's damn, I'm taking this seriously. I think when you invest that much time and effort and energy into something, you want to do your best. So you go, well, maybe I shouldn't be out every Saturday night.
I literally love it, and I relate so much to what you're saying, and I know that it sounds boring, right? But I actually don't care, at all. And
100%.
My Saturday night just gone. I went to the track with two mates. We did a really hard speed session. Mm-hmm. It was really hot and sunny and just lovely, beautiful evening. Everyone else around us out, drinking, having fun. Perfect, no worries. That added to our atmosphere,
100%.
Right? Everyone being out in the park, getting pissed. We kind of felt like we were in it too, right? Yeah. Even though we were on the track working, and had a clean G&T afterwards, genuinely. But nice. I wanted nothing more from my Saturday. It was the perfect Saturday. I just told you about it. We then went back with Jordan. Jordan was there, watched The Last Samurai, had a cheeseburger, and just thought, I fucking love this.
Well, I think at the same time as well, what the big issue I often see with people who really dedicate themselves to running is they take themselves off to this isolated place. And I think social isolation is a really bad thing for our health at the same time as well. Yes, running is great for our health, improving our standards, but doing it in a way that doesn't involve this social isolation thing. It's obviously lock-in mentality is great, but I'm a big believer in how many times a week can I run with other people? How many times a week can I involve social stuff into what I'm doing? So if you going to Battersea Park track and on a Saturday night when it's gorgeous weather, think about how many times it's training through winter, it's crap weather. You think, oh God, what am I doing this for? It makes those sessions even better. You've got mates with you pushing you on a hard session. You're still in a social area. So went for a drink afterwards, a clean G&T. you're doing, and then you got people come around your house watching movies. Like that is for me like an awesome Saturday.
Yeah.
That doesn't. Then you wake up Sunday morning feeling fresh, feeling great. Your social like batteries filled up as well. Trying to combine the two things. I think a lot of people go that route of right. I need to take my fitness seriously, so I'm going to stop seeing all my friends. I'm going to stop doing anything social. And next thing you know, they're just sitting at home alone on a Friday, Saturday night, being like, oh, well, actually, you know what? I was having a lot more fun when I was going out with my friends. Like, how can you find like, not say middle ground, but like, how can you incorporate socializing and hard training at the same time as well?
The Last Samurai as well is an absolute belter. Like seriously,
Yeah,
I've not seen that in a long time, and I watched it and I just thought this is sick.
Yeah,
like I just thought it was great.
That scene, Tom Cruise when he's fighting them off at the start.
He's a winner, mate.
Yeah,
honestly, like I don't care about him being a Scientologist or any shit like that, or him bouncing around on that sofa screaming about his ex-wife. I couldn't care less. Yeah, he was the Last Samurai.
I forgave him for that because of Mission Impossible as well. I was like, that's a fucking great series.
He is a belter, and actually, like it's not really up for debate.
No.
There's
certain thing when you get to a certain star level where they're just
no. I've actually
nothing to do with running. Oh, he can run.
No.
He sprints.
Well, I'm sure he can. But yeah,
he's jump up buildings. He does all his own stunts.
But you're aware as well, right, of the Tom Cruise run. So like he does it in all his films. You'll notice if you love Mission Impossible,
it's that exact same
his sprinting shots on the Steadicam.
Yeah,
I was going to ask.
Just get him in.
Sure.
Simon, do you not have confidence that we can get Tom Cruise in? Do we need to find somebody that can do that? Okay.
Is like an action movie like a Tom Cruise movie? Is that like the perfect like post training session weekend burger moment? Is there like what's the best kind of top three post training movies?
I'm a big believer in a pre-training movie. So the night before a training session, Rocky 3.
Yeah, oh mate, yeah.
Rocky 3 goes hard. Like Rocky 1's more of an emotional, like hard hitting thing. Yeah. Rocky 3 for training, like when he's doing all the training with Apollo Creed for the rematch, that for me is like a pre. I watched it the other night because I got this run on Sunday. I'm like, I need. That's my mentality going into this. Mate.
They really kick the shit out of each other in those films. Jesus, yeah. I saw one of those recently. I watched Creed 2, maybe, and they can swallow a punch. Those lads,
go for it.
Oh yeah,
I like. You know what I need? Because I need like in my head when I'm training, I'm playing through my own training montage, especially when you're making content as well. Like it ultimately is just a montage you're making. You know, in my head I'm just like going, not gonna lie, I feel like Sylvester Stallone in Rocky 3 here, like running around Battersea Park with my top off. Like, yeah, it's
a belt, mate. Jordan and I set out to watch Braveheart.
Yeah,
and it actually wasn't on Netflix. so we ended up with The Last Samurai, which by the way was just like I just love it. Saw a lot of like synergy between myself and the protagonist with, Stephen Scullion, being the samurai and taking me in and teaching me the ways of the samurai. It's all good stuff. That was, I have to say, like a really incredible Saturday night. I'm at a stage now with boozing as well, where like I've got nothing against drinking. I drink from time to time. I kind of always regret it. Like, and I don't mean that in like a judgmental way. Like when even if I'm enjoying like a delicious glass of wine with colleagues or friends or family, like I'll enjoy the sensation, I suppose, of like having a drink. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, oh, this is going to have a knock-on effect on my sleep and stuff. Not a la Stephen Bartlett, obviously, where like I feel like it's going to destroy my week. Like I don't think that.
Yeah.
But like I do think, okay, like I won't sleep as well, especially if I have 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Then it's kind of like I know that I'll feel this a little bit in my speed sesh tomorrow. Yeah. And like I'm at the stage in my life where I'm sort of like I don't know if this is worth it.
I'd say this is my take on it because I do like a drink here and there. I don't like, especially throughout a training block, I think giving yourself the permission to have a bit of fun and not be like, oh, I'm going to feel this the next day. I think the purpose of training, especially for big challenges and big races, is to build a level of resilience in you.
Yeah.
If 3 drinks knocks you for 3 days, you haven't got resilience. Like, bit of a bitch, if you ask me. Like, you should be able to go out, have a few drinks, wake up the next morning, rip a session. You might not perform as well in the session. Yeah, but cool, we had a great night. You had some fun, you had some friends. Not feeling that guilt of being like, oh, but I had this there. Maybe I may not feel the best, but guess what? I'm still going to go and do it. I'm still going to go rip it.
Sure.
I find that to be, for me, I almost get off of me the fact that I mean, like, I had my first like night out of the year a few weeks ago. Funny enough, halfway through this night out, I got an email saying I got into Moab 240. So I was like, oh, fucking hell. Of all the days. For me, though, that was wicked. I got to see my friends. It was the Champions League final on. Everyone came around to mine. Went out for a few drinks afterwards. awesome night. Woke up the next day, knocked out 30K. I was like, yep, sweet, let's do it.
Firstly, with the booze as well. So I actually almost find it easier sometimes if you're a bit fatigued to fall into like a harder session more easily. Like when I'm really well rested, like really hydrated, really, and I've spent like loads of attention being like as dialed in as I possibly can. You're almost like so aware of the session and the pace and the time and the mileage that it's quite difficult to kind of slip into that state that you aim for, like if you're pushing yourself. You know, a good example would be Tokyo. I didn't drink any alcohol, but only slept for like an hour and a half the night before the race. And I was quite tired and just like felt a bit low and felt a bit kind of like, you know, I wish I'd slept really well last night, and that just wasn't to be. But almost that being a little bit drained, but having done some good work before just like knocked me into a bit of a flow state, I guess, where like I just found a pace. I was able to sort of switch off like, at that pace and just kind of cruise at the pace. And like the Ks were just ticking along nicely. Like I wasn't hyper aware of where I was in the race. You know, it's kind of like, there's a 5K block, there's a 5K block, there's a 5K block. And all of a sudden you've only got like, you know, a couple of blocks left. And it's like, oh, cool.
You're not thinking too hard. I always think if you're really well rested and like, you know, everything's been perfect at the point, you're overanalyzing everything. And to get into that flow state, you know, sometimes just, I always refer to it as like, you know, the monkey and the cymbals. Like people ask me what I'm thinking about during these ultras. It literally is like the monkey and the cymbals going like that in my brain. That's the only thing that's going on. I'm just thinking, consume carbs, one foot in front of the other, how I'm landing, and then nothing else is going on. Like I'm not thinking, you know, I've got this pace here, I'm not overanalyzing the process. I'm focusing on the process, not the outcome. But like the process to me is just like, am I landing efficiently? Not making any glaring mistakes? Am I taking on what I need to take on? And that's kind of it. There's not much else going on there.
Yeah.
I love it. It's great.
So I was about to say, you're well known for covering longer distances.
Yeah.
Like you're an endurance guy. I mean, you've achieved a lot in that space. What are your kind of main hacks for running further? Like what's your advice on people who want to take on, say, their first ultra?
I mean, I think, again, goes back to enjoying the process. Like ultra running is really, really tough. Don't get me wrong. Like it's like 100K, 100 milers, then those distances above that, it's all really difficult. It's a very different type of fatigue than you feel at the end of a marathon. Like you're someone, I mean, you've run 100 miles as well, haven't you? Jade around the track. That was a very different sensation and feeling than running a fast marathon. They're both difficult in their own unique ways. There's obviously some crossover. I think with the ultras, you have so much time to fill. And I just think it's a very the way you conceptualize that time, that effort, that movement is a very unique experience in running. Like until I ran an ultra, I'd never experienced anything quite like it. And then when you're spending, you know, 10, 20, 30 plus hours running, you go to some really interesting places. And I find when I'm doing anything fast, my sort of mind doesn't go into necessarily like I'm just focusing on like, right, pushing pace here. Like I'm really dialed in. Whereas with an ultra, like it's so much time and you're moving at a pace that's not exhausting you. And again, you're trying to control that pace almost so you're not overexerting at any point so you can keep going. It just allows you to sort of free up your mind. And again, you go on this roller coaster of emotions of massive highs, low lows, and you're constantly pulling yourself out the lows, trying not to ride the highs too high because, you know, you can sort of overshoot it and start running way too fast or get a bit arrogant with your performance. And I think it's just an incredible experience to be able to go up and down with that. I think, again, with any ultras, like it's just a really beautiful thing to be able to move your body that far. And again, it's an experience thing, like with everything. Anyone who's trying to get into running ultramarathons, it's just about being open to the possibilities of experiences. Like you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know how you're going to feel. You kind of have to go into it. Even no matter how hard you train, they are so damn hard. And that's the thing as well. It's like accepting that this is going to be incredibly difficult. It's going to push me to like almost like a breaking point, but also I'm excited to see how I pull myself around out of that. And then you come out, you know, you're never the same person you are at the start to a finish of an ultramarathon. No matter how, you know, this is a hard 50K, 100 milers, 200 milers. No matter what, you are a very different person at the end of that because you're kind of putting yourself in such a vulnerable position physically that you mentally become quite vulnerable. And I always think it's, you know, it's a bit of a therapy session. Not saying that running is a swap for actual therapy, but it feels a bit like that because you finish up and you're like, wow, that was a very deep emotional experience. Physically, yes, very hard, very exhausting, but running 30 hours of no sleep, you know, you really tap into some places in the brain that we often kind of like ignore a little bit or we're able to go, I don't want to go there today. During an ultramarathon, you're kind of pulling from all these different resources and tapping into, you know, things in your past, or maybe things you kind of ignore about yourself, or maybe, you ask yourself these really deep questions, and because you've got nothing to distract you, you're just running, you kind of have the time to go into it and tap into it. And I always find like I end up writing crazy amounts of notes to myself when I run ultras, or I'll voice note myself. I mean, I've got probably hours of voice notes to myself that I'll tap into something really deep, and I'll just start having these like super in-depth conversations or explaining how I'm feeling about something. It's the first time I've really like unlocked something. I think that's the most beautiful part about ultra running, and that's something that a lot of people who do run these crazy distances often tap into, and they find themselves a very different person at the end of it. I think that's really beautiful.
Can you remember what some of these internal conversations would be? You can train hard, eat well, feel fit, and still miss what's going on inside your body. Dr. Rangan Chatterjee, founder of Do Health, told me that 46% of members had hidden cardiovascular risk that they had absolutely no idea about. You know that I track everything: sleep, recovery, training, and performance. But there's a difference between feeling healthy and knowing that you're healthy. I took my blood test last week, and the results are in. I've also asked the AI to give me a breakdown of these results, and here they are. It says that they paint a really clear picture of someone who trains hard and eats plenty of protein. Tick. And my inflammation is optimal. Surprise, surprise. These are strong results. Thank you very much, Do Health. I also took the test to look a little deeper at things that you can't see on the outside, like testosterone, glucose levels, cholesterol, even my biological age. And then, this is the bit that matters, a personalized plan for what to actually do about it. So in the next 4 months, I know that I can improve my results, because this isn't just about your next race, it's about long-term health. Go to dohealth.co/untapped and use code UNTAPPED. I'm competitive, you know that, so go and find out your numbers and come and tell me how you get on. Through my endurance challenges, I've seen the power of community and doing something that positively impacts other people. That was a huge motivation behind both 30 consecutive marathons in the desert and Project 7. Yes, they pushed me physically and mentally, but at the heart of both was fundraising and showing what collective action can achieve. That's why we're proud to partner with Postcode Lottery. Thanks to Postcode Lottery players, thousands of charities and good causes can continue doing the life-changing work in their communities. Whether it's helping young people build confidence through sport with organisations like Greenhouse Sports, or the Ellen MacArthur Cancer Trust, helping young people rebuild their lives after cancer. The common thread is creating hope, resilience, and opportunity. I've seen firsthand how powerful it is when people unite behind something bigger than themselves, and that's exactly what Postcode Lottery players are doing every day. To learn more about the impact Postcode Lottery players are helping create, click the link in the episode description. Postcode Lottery manages lotteries for 20 charities. A minimum of 30% of each ticket price goes to charity. 18 plus, conditions apply, not available in Northern Ireland.
Oh man, I remember I ran this, one of my first ultra marathons. I ran this 50-mile mountain race in upstate New York. And I did it with a group of friends from New York. I was like, oh, super chill. I wouldn't say I probably trained for it, because it was like a last minute thing. They're like, hey, we're running this ultra. I went out there, and like a year previous, my cousin passed away. Really unfortunate and really sad. I remember like being very confused about someone like my kind of like similar age to me passing away. I was very close to, and grief's one of those weird things that don't really teach you how to deal with grief.
Yeah.
And so for me, I was really struggling with like how to feel about it, and I remember I was out there and I was dealing with like some massive Achilles issues, because again, like I live in London. There's not too many mountains or hills to be running up and down. So my training was pretty flat, and then it was a couple thousand meters of elevation on this thing, and so my Achilles were burning the whole way. And I was like, this sucks. And I got to like the 60K, so it was 80K and 50 miles. Got to like the 60K mark. I remember just like having this like beautiful period alone during the race. I stopped running with my friends. I was like, listen, I'm in a lot of agony here. I kind of don't want to be around people like cheering and all happy. I'm just like, let me be miserable on my own for a couple of hours. And I remember just kind of like all of a sudden, I was so tired and fatigued and dealing with all these physical pain elements. I kind of just went into this state of like being very confrontational with myself about like how I actually feel about this passing and grief. And dude, I just started bawling my eyes out. I don't cry very often. I was like, damn, I'm really in this emotional state. And I think I just held up these barriers for so long, and I just started to like accept what was happening and going on, and understanding and just giving myself permission to feel these things properly. I think I've always struggled to like understand or feel certain emotions, and just like I'm aware of them, but kind of just able to like park it or guard it a little bit. Whereas I hit my ball my eyes out. I was like, oh shit, and I really let go. And then all of a sudden, all the pain I was feeling in my body and my Achilles and my legs just fucking disappeared. And it's like so interesting to understand, like a lot of the time physical pain is linked to emotional pain. Yeah. Or maybe in our minds, the physical pain we're feeling is just being amplified by something we're holding on to. And all of a sudden, I just start kicking out like 5-minute Ks. And I'm like, where the hell is this coming from? Caught up with all my friends, and they've seen me be like, basically just being like miserable for the last like 5 hours. So much so that I was like, can you guys fuck off so I can just like suffer my own here? I remember I just caught back up to them, smiling, laughing. They're like, what happened to your kid? I'm like, it feels fine now. Everything feels great. I feel fantastic. And I then ran the last like 2 hours through. We just started punching the pace. Ran the last 2 hours and like hitting like 5:30 Ks. And I was like, this is brilliant. And I had the best time. I remember finishing that thinking like, wow, okay, that's a real, yeah, you kind of
it's almost like a cathartic thing, like an amazing release.
Yeah, 100%. And that was to me, I was like, the more I run, the more I realize like it's so much better for like my emotional and mental well-being than it is like physical. Yeah, great. But it was one of those things like, wow, it really does like, I became much more aware of the guards I put up around my emotions a lot of the time. And it allows me now to give, when I go into ultras or big long training runs, you know, I try not to over listen to music. I try and just be very present with my thoughts, my feelings, my emotions. I feel like the only time I can really like let things down or process a lot of things. So that's why now I'm just like, hey, I'll do this every day. And you know what? It just kind of, especially if I run early in the morning, it kind of sets me up for the day. If I run in the evening, I could get to reflect on things. And, you know, it helps me because I journal a lot as well. That's a big thing I do around a lot of my running is beforehand how I'm feeling, afterwards how I'm feeling. And it just allows me just to keep check on things and just be a bit more like emotionally mature, I think.
That's really interesting. I had a similar thing with the crying. I don't ever cry. And after the Amazon Ultra, I think it's like 230K, something like that, 5 days, Amazon rainforest, like incredible experience.
Yeah.
On the plane on the way home, I just like had this complete like emotional, at the time it kind of felt like it was a meltdown, but not, it's more of like a breakthrough, I think.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
Literally I was wailing, crying. I had to like hide under the covers.
The students getting past, like any drinks yesterday, just pouring your eyes out.
I think I had a couple of glasses of wine or something. Yeah. And like I was watching that Tom Hanks film, A Man Called Otto.
Yeah.
Which is all about him wanting to commit suicide, and he doesn't do it in the end because he finds this friendship in this community that he doesn't really like people.
Yeah.
And it's nowhere near as moving as I thought it was. But
it was the trigger that you needed.
I don't know what it was, but it triggered me, and I was sat next to this woman, and literally like I started crying, but really quite uncontrollably, and like and I thought I could kind of hide it, but I couldn't. And I started really like going, and I had to like get the covers and like just like go over into the window, and I was literally going like I couldn't stop. I cried for ages, and then on the next flight, it kind of happened again. No Tom Hanks on this one. I was just sat there, and I just started like bawling, crying again.
Yeah,
and I was just like, this is odd, but I loved it. Like it felt so nice.
It did 100%.
It felt like years and years of pent up stuff, just like leaking out of my eyeballs.
Yeah. 100. I find that like doing ridiculous distance ultra stuff is enough to break down like the barriers you kind of build up, because again, like day to day, especially like yourself, like you're getting stuff done. There's almost an element of non-stopness to what you're doing with the podcasting, with work, with training. Like you're sole focused on the next job. You kind of don't give yourself this permission to sit, take stock and go, right. And I'm the exact same. Like I don't sit there being like all the time, you know, trying to think about how this impacts this or this impacts this. So for me, it's like whenever I'm out on these big ultras, these big challenges, I'll get a point where I stop overthinking anything because I'm so tired and fatigued that part of my brain that's trying to like come up with an excuse or reason not to think about this thing just kind of like falls away, and I'm kind of left with my subconscious, and you have these very deep conversations. Like I'm still working through voice notes from the last ultra I did, because I'm out there in the one in Texas, and I've got so many clips of me, even just like doing a video to myself, thinking like, right, this is what we're thinking out here. And it is a really like, you finish these races in such a almost like content or like at peace with certain things. And I think I find it so bizarre. Like the most I've ever cried was like the day after I did the Run the Capitals challenge. So it was like 960 kilometers in 11 days. And that was painful to do. That was really painful. The whole thing, I didn't kind of like cry. I wasn't emotional. I was just like 18 to 90K a day after day after day, in agony, foot swelled up 2-3 shoe sizes bigger. And I was just grinding through it. And it was like the day after, I woke up and I even like didn't go home. I was checked into a hotel. I was like, I don't want to be home. I just want to be somewhere that's not the RV that we were sleeping in, or back to my own place, and just stay there. Woke up the next day and like just bawled my eyes out.
There must be something, I think, in like extreme physical exertion and emotional release. I'm just talking to you now. I haven't thought about this in ages. In 2023 we made the Finding Michael documentary on Everest, and unfortunately I had promised my parents I would just stay at base camp, like, because I think makes sense not to put myself through any unnecessary risk, particularly having lost Michael to the mountain. And I had a friend, Alex, who I met up there, who was there, and he was climbing, and he climbs and he summited, and then he came down. And I'll always remember seeing him back at base camp. He was just like sobbing, but eyes, like, it felt like his eyes were kind of twice the size that they normally are, just absolutely full of water, like just blubbering, like couldn't get a sentence out, because he'd just seen like, the most beautiful thing he's ever seen. And he's achieved this probably, goal that he's had for years and years and years. And like, it was just this, he had this massive emotional, breakthrough, I guess. And it's, there's so much extreme beauty in the longer stuff, I think. Not all of it, obviously. But Chris Taylor, right? So like, been on a few cool things with him now. And, the desert stuff, just like the sunrises and the sunsets, and just the scenes in the Wadi Rum desert, and the music, and just all this stuff is so moving, right? Absolutely. And then even to a slightly lesser scale, the Project 7 stuff, just the 7 continents and the Antarctic, and it's just all like, it's an amazing thing to see. Absolutely. Right? And then when you add in the physical exertion and the lack of sleep and the strain and the stress of it all, I think it breaks down those kind of emotional barriers that perhaps you don't even realize are there. Like, I don't go through my life kind of trying not to cry, but I just, nothing really moves me. Unless you're watching The Last Samurai, because genuinely, there was when Matsumoto's son gets killed, the way it's shot, they don't make films like that anymore.
No.
Films are shit nowadays compared to that.
They are.
I literally was watching that somewhere. I was like, why don't people make films like this? This is just absolutely sick.
Everything's shot like an advert these days.
Everything's like designed to just keep you interested, like if you're scrolling as well, and like everything's over explained, and it's all like, it's crap.
They feed it to you too easily. There's no work to be done.
Film shit. You're creative and stuff. Like, do you notice it? When was the last time you saw an incredible film at the cinema? Ages ago. Anyway,
ages ago.
Ages ago. Like it's just all. It's so disappointing, right? Like when Matsumoto's son dies in The Last Samurai, and he's running across the bridge with his swords out, and he's getting decked by all the stuff, and then it's like there's smoke coming out of him because he's fucking being shot like over and over again, and he's screaming, and Tom Cruise is all like teary, like looking on. It's just fucking banging. Honestly, I cried. I was sat on the sofa and I was, oh my god, and it's just banging. Proper stuff. They just don't do it anymore. Why don't they do it anymore? Simon, why don't they make proper films anymore?
Well, I think there needs to be this sort of running commune at your house now. I think there should be like some sort of
movie night.
It's like go for a big training session, a burger, we'll watch an action movie and have a cry all together.
No bullshit. There has to be like even if you take like an old school, like the original Jurassic Parks, belters, new Jurassic Parks. Nah. Oh my god! It's because honestly, I've struggled.
I was thinking it's because they've got to appeal to an audience of people that are
kids.
They have to. They're so easily distracted. They're fighting for every second of attention in the film. If there's a period more like a minute long where nothing happens, where there's no time to build suspense or like build whatever they're trying to get to, because everyone can just flick on their phone and start scrolling because they get bored. I think
why do the dinosaurs all have to be like jacked up, special mutant dinosaur? Like what? Like, the fact that it's a dinosaur is enough, isn't it? Surely, like a dinosaur's a fucking dinosaur.
I think it
doesn't need to be a crossbreed, like cross-contaminated, like dinosaur with a fucking metal arm. Bollocks. Bullshit. Just a fucking normal dinosaur is enough. Frightening enough. Fucking T-Rex in your bedroom.
Done.
Yeah, like I don't need it to have some like, genetically mutated gene for it to be more frightening. Who gives a fuck? It's a T-Rex.
That's enough.
I told you about that guy I used to know who every morning, this is Jurassic Park related. So every morning he would like with his breakfast, had the same breakfast every day as whatever cereal, would start watching Jurassic Park on his laptop, 15 minutes whilst he was getting ready, hit pause, go off, have his day at work. Next morning, same thing again, hit play. And he would just do that on repeat he did it for like 2 years, just watch Jurassic Park on a weird little loop.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a psychopath, obviously, but like
nothing wrong with that.
I like it. But it's also, I think that's better than scrolling for 15 minutes on like TikTok or Instagram.
Yeah.
Like way better.
I'm a long
better.
form content only person.
Yeah.
Like we like long form content where we can have a proper conversation.
Absolutely.
You know,
but we do hope you are hooked by
obviously when you're watching our short clips, we hope that you are addicted to
We won't
them.
make a clip out of this bit, but So if you are listening to this on the long form side, congratulations. We appreciate you being here.
Yeah.
This is,
and if you happen to enjoy the short stuff, then great.
That's great as well.
Watch that as well.
100%.
Let's talk about shoes. So when you do your long, like 100k, 100 mile plus, what shoe do you run in?
I chop and change. So depending. So I just done 192k a few weeks ago at the Backyard Ultra in Texas, the BPN race. And I ran the whole thing in 2 pairs of Saucony Azuras. Brilliant shoe. Like I came across them during training and I was like, these are like fast enough and get a good kick out. But for me, wide enough as well, because my feet have a tendency to expand during big ultras. So these ones are like nice wide toe box, no issues. Finished up with like, didn't lose a toenail, didn't have a single blister, nothing like, they were great.
That's nice.
That's a really nice feeling. This one I'm doing next on Sunday, running across the UK, probably comes in a minute. That one I'm looking at, I need something a little bit faster. So I'm just going to chop and change between a few different like variations of faster shoes, something with a plate in them.
Full plate? Like a super shoe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got to run fast. It's 140k and I've got like 17 hours to do it in.
You'll do that.
Yeah, there's a lot of climbing. It's not.
Oh, right. Okay.
Hey, it's North England. I know it's flat here. I know we're used to running Battersea Park here. It turns out like most places aren't that flat.
Have you tried the this
Terex?
Agravic Terex?
Yeah, they're nice.
It's got a sort of plate in it.
They do. I've worn them for other like traily things. They're nice.
Yeah.
Just this whole thing I'm doing is on road anyway. So
okay.
I was fine. I always have a love-hate relationship with trail shoes. I find them like really heavy and like bulky. I quite like a lighter shoe.
So what do you reckon you'll go for? Like a Puma, maybe.
They're too tight on my feet. I'm a size 13.
They are quite thin.
They're 13, and I like to go like a half size,
You're
full
a size
size.
13.
Exactly. Not anyone with a big cock around here.
Bloody hell.
A size 13. And then I'll bring like a 14 and a 14 and a half with me for most things.
14 and a half. Who are you, Shaquille O'Neal?
Mate, have a look at the size of my boats. I mean, these are tight shoes. But like, they probably smell a bit there. But like, yeah, like
look at this.
Absolute boats.
Hello. This thing's like a phone from the 50s.
Proper.
Did they exist? No. When did phones come out? 70s?
Yeah,
the 70s, 80s, the big ones.
Phones in the 50s.
Gordon Gecko size.
Yeah, well, Gordon would have one of these, surely.
Yeah, 100% boats.
You could kayak on this, I think.
100%. Oh, mate.
Transatlantic in Jonny Davies' shoes.
Something going on there. I would probably be a better swimmer than I'm a runner. The size of my flippers.
14 and a half.
Yeah. But okay, so here's the thing. A lot of running brands don't make shoes in my size. So I'm kind of limited. Puma ones, like everyone's talking about how great they are, and I'm like, oh, it'd be really cool to test them out. Don't make my size.
You couldn't ever wear a Fast Star.
No. So
they don't make them.
Adidas go up to my size. Nike go up to my size.
I'm assuming Jordan's pitched you this heavyweight running division idea.
Yeah, he's mentioned it a few times. Yeah.
What do you reckon?
I love the fact that any way to get more people involved.
He's mentioned it a few times.
He's mentioned it a couple of times here and there, every day. I think any way you can make more people feel included in running. Like when I first started rocking up to ultras, like I'm not exactly the smallest bloke in the world. I remember just being like, "There's no one my height or size here."
How much do you weigh?
95 at the moment. I used to be 120. When I played rugby, I was 120 kilos was my playing weight. And when I started running ultras, like my first 100k, I was 109 kilos.
Jordan size. So he's 107 or something. 108.
Yeah. No, I was big, but I wasn't like that. But I was just like, there's way more muscle. Like I've stopped lifting weights upper body, and I've still got like a decent amount on me. Still, I'm trying to as I progress with running, I'm trying to get that down. I literally only do lower body now.
What do you run 5Ks and stuff?
Not really.
No.
I mean, I do speed work and things like that, but I've never run like a 5K race or like my 5K PB happened during a half marathon.
Yeah.
So I don't have for me, it's never been interested me that much. I was always interested in, because of those 2 years I spent from when I got into running, no one ever told me like, oh, you kind of should start at the 5K and then progress up that way. I was like, I really enjoyed doing this. Let's see how far I can run. Ran a spontaneous 50K, then I ran a spontaneous. Then I was working up towards, and then my first proper race was 100K. Like my first experience of going to a race where you get a bib and everything like that was the Thames Path 100K, and like the expo was literally a bloke with a little stand giving out the bibs. That was my first experience of like a running expo. It was literally just like a pop-up camping table. You said your name, here's your bib, and then 100K to Henley.
Lovely.
I was like, wicked. This is great. I really enjoyed that. So when going from there to then like a London Marathon Expo, big jump up in like, standards of like how big these events are. But I thought I enjoyed it. I mean, that was my first experience of doing like a proper formal ultra. Yeah. Anyone getting into ultramarathon running in the UK, I think that's a wicked 100K to start with because it's pretty flat. Gorgeous. You run from Putney to Henley along the river.
Race to the Stones, another good one.
That's a good one.
Have you done that?
Not done that.
No. There's a few. Ultras are very different, I feel, to marathons, depending on how you run them, obviously.
Of course.
But it's a different. I actually almost feel like the ultra is a nice way to start.
I think it's a great way to start. I think honestly, I went in with that angle first of all. I'm now trying to like reverse engineer it, being like, okay, actually, I should probably like have a nailed on 5K, 10K, half. Like I should probably really like work through those at some point as well. But for me, I don't. It doesn't do the same thing for me. Like I think as well, you gotta find what you enjoy, find what you're maybe probably a bit better at as well. And for me, something out of doing like these big challenges, big multi-days, I love being like in that space for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. The idea of a 5K, the 5K is a nasty distance.
We hate it in here.
Yeah. Honestly, anyone whose distance is a 5K, like hats off.
It's rough.
It's rough.
5K is the worst.
It's also to get good at the 5K, the kind of training you're doing is pushing that zone for honestly,
It's grim.
It's grim.
Because you almost feel like if you're pushing for a big time or whatever, you feel horrendous in the very first K, and then you've just got like another like I don't know 12, 13 minutes of hell.
Yeah. Anyone who's chosen that as their distance is like people talk about like running ultras, must be something going on up here. I'm like no. If you choose that 5K is your distance, something's going up there. Like for you to like enjoy. That's where you want to spend your like time and effort and energy. Like you got to really have like a few things going on there.
Even the 800 meters is rough as well. Like 800 when it's ran in the way that some people run it is just like how on earth are they like just basically sprinting for 2 laps? It's just insane.
That mid distance looks wild as well. I think that's why obviously the marathon, ultramarathons get all this like kind of like big attention because of how far those distances are. It captures people's attention. But people who are good mid distance runners or 5K runners just like wow. Yeah. Like I didn't realize how. I always like, in my head, like looked at these big ultras and like people who compete in them. Whereas now I'm like looking at people who can run like a ridiculously fast 5K. I'm like,
mate, it's insane.
Oh, it's insane. Yeah.
Alfie Manthorpe, who was a guest in here recently, but I speak to him a lot because I'm a shoe nerd. So I literally just call him. We'll just have a chat about shoes quite regularly.
He's dialed in.
Yeah, he's dialed in.
Yeah.
I also follow him on Strava, obviously, and he ran a 13-minute 50 5K at the track the other night. So he averaged like 2:49 pace.
Wow.
And it's just like, you can't even imagine.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, and also, by the way, he's ran 10K at that pace. So like he described it as like, oh yeah, I need to get fit. I was like, that just feels a bit of a kick in the teeth, doesn't it? Yeah, I'd say you're quite fit.
But also, he's doing that during a training. He's a mid-training block. That's not a race. That's like
no.
During training, he ran the day before that, and the day before that, and the day before that.
He ran 3 times that day.
Oh, okay.
So like he had like he often runs like 2 or 3 times in a day, but like obviously being a pro runner. But that was just like, he then ran 5K immediately after that at like 3:10 pace.
Oh, because nice to cool down. Nice cool down. 3:10
I know,
pace.
It's Larry kind of alien stuff, to be honest.
100%. I get the same whenever I see Hugo Fry running an easy run. It's like a 4-minute pace. I'm like, he's like casually he's testing out some new Pumas the other day, and he's like, I'm going to test these out for a 30K run.
30K easy jog, yeah.
Easy run. Look, I was like, why? How comes his 30K run's only like 2 hours long? I'm like, oh, that's why. Okay, it makes sense.
You said you lift less, so you're in the gym less, or you're in the gym doing different things?
In the gym doing different things. I still always hit 2 like fundamental sessions I have to hit every single week, and most of that's lower body work and then core work as well. I come from a strength and rugby background, so I used to be able to do like my deadlift was 240 kilos, which is completely unnecessary for running ultramarathons or marathons. However, like I'm now trying my best to remove mass upper body, which is, again, having a really big bench press isn't that useful for running like a good marathon or a good ultramarathon. So I'm now like just occasionally doing a little bit of upper body, mostly focusing on core and then lower body work. So for me, it's like, how can I improve things like my ground contact time? So my leg sessions now involve things like plyometrics, things like lots of pogo work, lots of force absorption work as well. So pogos.
Pogo sticks?
Well, no, pogos. When you're doing plyometrics, you're doing pogos.
I don't know what that is. Go on.
Get the cameras out there. You're basically like, you know, how to improve your ground contact time. So you're literally like stiff legs, hopping, and like how can you attack the ground and get back up again at the same time. So like it's all working landing mechanics, which is the area I find most interesting around running, is like the mechanical side. So work closely with physio at the running room, a guy called Adrian, been my physio for years, and like we are dialing in a lot of the mechanics of running to improve, especially as a heavier guy. Like how can I land and absorb that force as efficiently as possible and reproduce that force? A lot of work, we did a lot of this in rugby, so coming from that background has kind of made me quite injury resistant, because a lot of this stuff is around prevention of injury as well as increased performance. And so for me, it's my leg sessions on, you know, how heavy can I go on my squats? Yes, there's elements of like working through all the major running muscles and all the joints, so ankles, knees, hips, making sure great range of motion. I've got good strength profile throughout the entire range. But what I'm not trying to do is, you know, put myself in a state where I can't walk for 2 days afterwards, like my old leg day sessions used to be. So now it's very much more focused on single leg exercises, making sure I haven't got any imbalances in strength, making sure one leg's, you know, usually speaking, one leg's always a little bit more dominant than the other, but how can I keep that asymmetry between 5%? You know, make sure my calves are strong, making sure there's no areas of weakness around all the joints there. Because again, like when you're running ultramarathons, the weakest point in that chain is the first thing to fail. And then once that one thing fails, everything else is compensating for it. And you then play this game of catch up and ultimately leads to sort of, you know, issues and injuries. Whereas if you can like build really resistant legs, and again, good thing about strength training is increased bone density. So forcing yourself to do heavy lifting, at least one session a week, forces that adaptation in the bone as well. And obviously everyone these days is talking about bone stress injuries. I mean, very fortunate and grateful never to have one, even though doing this for sort of 5 years or so now, and especially as a heavier guy with a lot more force going through. One thing I really do take consideration in is how can I strength train my lower body without getting injured. And again, I think a big part of that is looking at the adaptations you get from your bones, because your bones are one of those things that when you run a lot, and especially if you're not fueling effectively, like that bone density has a tendency to start dropping down. So getting things like DEXA scans to have a look at the bone density, that's a really important metric we look at every few months. And then just with strength training, just, you know, consistent strength training. I'm trying to elicit the adaptation without adding massive amounts of fatigue. So I'll try and double up on the intense days. So days I've got speed work or days I've got hill work, later that day, I'll then do my strength session. And I'll try and like keep my easy days very easy, just one easy run. But my intense days, high fatigue days, it'll be like a track session in the morning. Give it 7-8 hours. So you're not dealing with competitive adaptations. Your body's trying to adapt from two different stimuluses, such as running and lifting. Giving that time and space between them is really important as well. That's why I'll never go from like a track session going, oh, I need to go do my lifting session now. Because again, it's two different systems of the body you're training and two different recovery mechanisms involved with that. And they can conflict with each other, almost like you're sort of pulling in two different directions. So keeping them quite separate. But for me, I try and keep them on the same day of a high fatigue day. Make sure eat really well that day, pre-session, post-session. I'll up my calories by an extra 1,000 that day just to make sure that I'm giving myself the best chance to fuel, but also recover from those sessions. And then obviously that night I'll be like, out like a light.
You said you're interested in the kind of mechanics of running. What do you mean by that?
So with running, like form is super important. So like how you land, how you like your ground contact time. There's so many elements to efficiency in running. We can always find those efficiencies in different areas. It's really hard to self-judge that because when you're just running, you're just trying to do your best as you can. So one thing I've done, I just come back from the Red Bull Athlete Performance Center in Salzburg, which is where every Red Bull athlete gets to do their, like a couple times a year, their medical testing and their performance testing. So they have every test under the sun you can imagine. This is even for their F1 drivers. They have special machines there that like test the G-forces they can handle or their capacities to steer. Phenomenal place. Like there's no other sports lab in the world like it. They have like a blood center there. So they're blood tests in the morning. They have a pharmacy on site. So they're going to be like, right, you need this, here's that. Brilliant place. And we did a full like biomechanics testing for the whole day to make sure my body's up to scratch for what I'm doing this weekend. And going through everything. So there's 3D cameras around you when you're doing your jump tests. You're doing things like force, calf raise force tests, looking at every sort of in the finest detail possible. And then on a treadmill, looking at your landing forces, looking at your gait analysis, finding ways you can increase your performance without increasing your energy output. So looking at different cues you can do, how to train better, improvements to your running economy. All these areas, which again, it's incremental increases, right? You're not trying to change. It's like going from 150 cadence to 190 cadence. It's not going to happen overnight. It's little incremental differences. So things like working your cadence, working how your foot lands, absorbs force, kicks back out again. And that's then all stuff that you then progressively work on over time. It's not like you go get testing done and they go, right, you need to change 10 things about how you run. And it goes, right, here's how we're going to slightly improve this or slightly improve that. Even things like how far back your arm should go on your technique, or maybe you're leaning too further forward, maybe your head needs to be raised up there. All these little form cues are really important. Like when I used to play rugby, we had a great coach who'd film a lot of our sprint sessions. So learning sprint dynamics is super important. So like how fast can you get, your foot from hitting the ground to then up in a dry position? How can you get fast over 4 or 5 steps? Whereas with distance running, you're sort of, so how can you not put yourself in the bin? Or like, how can you make sure your form isn't damaging you over that period of a marathon, ultramarathon? What can you do to improve the damage you're getting from yourself? Because running is damaging. Ultimately, it's just you're landing multiple times over. The pain you get in your legs from running isn't from pushing off, it's from landing. So how can you distribute that weight or that force evenly between the 3 joints that are managing that? I find this stuff fascinating, especially as a bigger guy who has to be a bit more conscious of this with the amount of force going through my legs. And how can you, again, like minimize that force so you can maximize the distance you can run? And I honestly, I find it the most fascinating area of running because, again, a lot of people talk about, yes, things like your VO2, your threshold, these are important for getting a lot faster. But I find it interesting is like, how can you improve the technique, especially when there's so much technology now available where they are literally like filming you from behind, filming you from the side, and they're watching like how every step lands and looking at the angle between your ankle, your knee angle, your land angle. Are you landing beneath your hips? Are you landing too far in front of you? So you're overstriding, which is, you're losing a lot of energy there if you're overstriding. You're landing correctly. And that's one thing when I got into running, I had reasonably good form because I came from a running sport background with rugby, whereby I was used to running for 40 yards at a time and then it was rest and breathe. Whereas now, I'm running for 30 hours at a time and there's not much time to rest and breathe. You're just constantly moving, just a lot slower, thankfully.
Yeah.
But I think I find that side of running so interesting because, again, a lot of the reason why people get injured running is because of their form not being strong enough. And so for a lot of people, the biggest benefit to them would be, okay, let's get a gait analysis done. Maybe there's some obvious things they can fix in there. Because a lot of people say, like, running's bad for your knees or running's bad for your...
Only if you do it incorrectly.
It's only if you're doing it incorrectly. A lot of that incorrect running comes from having a bad form or bad technique. So I always say, it's not that running's bad for you. I just had a specialist at the Rebel Centre look through that orthopedic docs that like scan my knees, look at absolutely everything. And I've run 14,000 kilometers now in the last few years. And again, knees are looking great as ever.
Tip top
condition, which is a really nice thing to hear. But again, a lot of that comes down to taking care of myself, especially doing these extreme challenges. You'll know, like, it puts a lot of strain on your body, knowing that, okay, I've ran these ridiculous distances and these crazy challenges, these crazy ultramarathons, and knowing that, yes, my knees, my ankles, my hips are all in great shape. Like I'm in fantastic condition. That gives me a lot of confidence to then go out and train really hard that week. If I know every few months I can get those tests done and have a look at it. And again, you don't have to go to Austria to the Rebel HQ to get this sorted. The running room in London, great spot to start. They're my physios here. And again, I get those tests done every 6 months. Just have a look at where my how my gait is increasing and my efficiency is increasing when I'm running. I've got 5 years of data with these guys now, so they can see in the videos from 5 years ago. Look at my first form when I started getting into this to now, and we can see that change over that period of time. And that's a really big thing. I think a lot of people miss. They just go, "Oh, just go run more." It's like, no. Like, work with a coach or work with a physio who can analyze your performance and analyze how you're running. And there's so many gains to be made just from little incremental increases to cues or form changes.
You could be hitting your head against the wall as well, if you're just doing it wrong.
100%.
Like when you plateau, it could be easily because you're just not technically running properly.
100%. And the thing is, it's like skill. You can progressively get better at all those things. You can improve on them. And I think that's where a lot of people find they pick up injuries, they plateau, they're going, why am I not getting better? It's like, well, you're leaving a lot of gains on the table because your technique could do with a bit of work on here. And again, it's one of those things that unless you see it on camera and it's filmed that's slowed down, you don't really notice it because with the way we run, our eyes can't pick it up in time. So it's great to see because I'll be like, in my head, sometimes I'm like, that's pretty good. And my physio look and he's like, why are you doing this? I'm like, what do you mean I'm doing this? He's like, Why is this foot landing this way? Like, what are you doing here? Like, this is like overstepping here. Like, look at the difference between your two sides here. This foot's slapping the ground. This one's like absorbing nicely, bouncing off. I'm like, I was like, I can't tell you I'm doing that. In my mind, they're both evenly doing it. He's like, no, that leg's doing 20% more work. I'm like, I had no idea about that.
Well worth having.
100%.
What do you like with your diet? Really
good. Yeah, really, really good. It's one of those things that running has almost like forced me to improve my diet, because now I know I need a certain amount of carbohydrates. You know, that's has to be increased. Well, if I want to eat that many carbohydrates and not gain weight, I'm probably have to look at the other areas of my diet that maybe I shouldn't, shit in the evenings. I'm going to go, okay, well, that's not going to help me too much. Like we mentioned earlier, by folks taking your running seriously, it lifts those standards elsewhere. So I'll track through different periods to make sure I'm getting enough carbohydrates in, make sure I'm not overeating, make sure I'm not undereating as well. I think a lot of people, when you start running a lot more, you have a tendency to just be hungry all the time. Do you get that?
Yeah, I'm like always starving.
Yeah. So I have to be quite careful. So I'm quite careful of evenings, like high fiber foods, like highly satiating foods that are going to fill me up. Obviously hit my macros, super high protein. I don't try and overdo on the fats because I know my carbs are so high as my primary energy source, but I want to make sure I'm recovering from all my sessions properly. So decent amount of protein in there. And again, I'll weigh in once a week just to see how am I going in the right direction?
Yeah.
Am I, if I'm losing weight really fast, that's a concern because.
Are you trying to lose weight?
Not very slightly. So very carefully. I'll not during the most intense parts of the training block. Once I'm going above 80, 90 kilometers a week, I'm then the goal is not to try and lose weight because at that point you're sort of like dampening your recovery by being in a deficit. It's also really hard to try and balance the deficit at that point. So what I'll often do is earlier parts of a training block when my mileage isn't too crazy, I'll then go through like a quite well-structured dropping phase of weight, and then I'll sort of sit at that level. But then I'll wait once a week to check in, be like, right, am I eating enough to recover, but also make sure I'm eating enough that I'm not putting myself in that deficit. But also as well, I don't want to make sure I'm overeating, which is easily done with when you start running big mileages. Weight does matter when it comes to your speed. As someone who used to weigh 120 kilos and now is like 94, 95, I can tell you weight really does matter. And again, I think a lot of people who get into running, all of a sudden they'll realize, oh my God, I'm always hungry now. And I could eat so much and I'm still hungry. So making smarter food decisions, high vegetables, high fiber, making sure you're getting these things in there, especially with running, a lot of food we eat when we run isn't very good. Like it's sugary carbs, which I think, isn't necessarily the best for our stomachs. So try and implement, make sure, getting in good vegetables, good fiber, good clean protein, just as a sense of like battering my body with basic breakfast is always sugary cereal, gels on runs, sweets if I need to like compensate and get more carbs in my system. All that stuff's not great for your stomach health, that refined carbohydrates. So I do like to make sure I balance it out with like very clean, healthy eating outside of there. But again, it's not about being perfect. It's just about being progressively better.
Yeah.
So I do, especially when it comes to like a big race or a big challenge, like I'll dial in for that. And then I give myself that period afterwards to be like, well, I'm going to enjoy a bleaker burger.
They're fantastic.
Yeah.
But like that feels like proper food to me. It's fast food, but it's not shit.
Yeah, for sure. There's care and attention gone into it.
But I eat that. I eat pizzas. I'm eating a lot of pasta at the moment.
Because?
Love it.
Yeah.
Just because the plain white rice bowls, I can't, to be honest, I struggle to get on board with that. It's just hard to eat.
I think you have to still enjoy food. For me is one of those things I always enjoy, as you can probably tell.
You look good, mate.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. But I like to eat. Eating's a passion of mine. It's something I love to cook, I love to eat. So for me, I wouldn't want to sacrifice quality of eating nice food or good food or food that I enjoy as well. Like a lot of people get good enjoyment out of going for nice meals, eating good food. I wouldn't want to have to then go I'm now going to have the most plain, boring meals now. I think it's almost like a bit of self-punishment there.
Exactly. It makes the training feel like a compromise. If you're training really hard and you're eating so clean that it's boring, it's almost like, for me, it's gone the other way. Like I'm eating tons of lasagna, tons of pasta, loads of bread, loads of bagels because I need the carbs. And if I don't eat the carbs, I can't do the session. I'll be middle of the third rep at a track and I'll be proper suffering and I'll go, that's because yesterday I ate, my steak and broccoli that I love and eggs and stuff, but I didn't have that big bowl of pasta that I should have had.
100%. I know that's the beautiful thing about running. You can afford to start eating. You don't have to be as dialed in with or as strict with it. For me though, as long as I hit those macro targets, kind of wherever they come from, doesn't really matter too much. You know. So for me, it's cereal is my guilty pleasure.
Cereal.
2 bowls a morning.
What kind of cereal?
I either go, so it's the cereal, the lowest amount of fiber in it, because I'm just one that's the sugariness, you can get Cocoa Pops or Rice Krispies are my two that I
have
just
Cocoa
like.
Pops every morning, do you?
Most mornings, yeah, before a session.
You're a beast, mate.
I love
Cocoa
it.
Pops.
I also have giant bowls. As
bowls for the giant man.
As a single man who lives in his own in London, like I don't have to compromise by having these like small. Same with like glasses. You know, some people have like small glasses. Every glass in my house.
You live on your own?
Yeah.
Oh my God. So hang on a sec. So when you wake up in the morning, it's just you?
Yeah.
My God. How old are you?
33.
Oh, mate. This is like, can you imagine? I'm turning 38 in August.
Yeah.
There are 4 people that my 3 children and my wife. And like literally from the second you wake up at like 6:20 in the morning.
Yeah.
You're just running around like looking after 3 little people till they go to school.
Yep.
And then like you're in with your training and your day and stuff. But it's like, I can't imagine waking up on my own. Just imagine, well, actually, I can because I did the other week when they were all away. But like,
how was that?
Oh, mate, it's like, can you imagine? Imagine like not setting an alarm. It's the weekend, and you just wake up at like 7:30 and like don't have to make eggs 3 ways.
Yeah. It's really nice. I'm not lying. I'm at an age where all my friends are having kids at the moment.
Last Samurai.
And like I'm chatting to them. Yeah, that's why I can watch Rocky 3 on a Saturday morning before I go for a run. I'm just chilling with my
Rocky
Cocoa
3 and
Pops in
Cocoa
there.
Pops.
Yeah, it's wicked.
Cocoa Pops and a bee bagel.
Yeah, it's class.
Have you had bee bagel?
No.
Again, not an advert.
Is that all good? Yeah.
Fuck.
Class.
Bee bagel is just like, just have a quick look, will you?
Okay,
You can get them ordered here. There must be one in the vicinity. Bee Bagel, again, they make their bagels fresh all day. They've got a big bagel churning machine. There's like no preservatives, nothing. They literally, when you buy them, they're literally like, use them today, tomorrow. That's it. Like they've got no shelf life because they're just so fresh. Full of seeds and onions and
I love that. The everything bagel stuff you get on it.
Fuck. Delish.
My point being is I don't have to compromise. You know how with obviously kids and my wife, you have to have like smaller, everything's instruments are small, like bowls are smaller, like you're drinking glasses. Like when you go to bed at night, do you have a glass of water?
Yeah.
What kind of size glass is it?
Just a normal size.
Normal size glass.
It used to be a pint glass.
Pint glass, yeah. I mean, I'm the stage where they're all pint glass or a protein shaker.
Yeah.
I still love it. That for me is a serving size of a drink.
Otto broke my pint glass. And, you know, I haven't stolen another one from the pub in a while, you know.
You can actually buy them, you know.
Can I?
Yeah.
Oh, great. Okay.
Yeah. Pint glasses don't just come from stealing them from pubs.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Anyone who's bought a pint glass, I've got, our glasses are all pint glasses, but they're all just stolen from pubs.
I don't know.
Okay, so my man.
I respect the industry too much. I can't be nicking pint glasses.
I got one of those nice Beavertown ones, but all the skulls have come off. So I literally the other day,
In the
my
washing
wife, I was
machine.
like, we should go for a drink because that's a bit worn.
Yeah,
I'll
you need to get a new one,
Yeah,
fresh one there.
Yeah.
Swap it out.
Swap it around there.
So I did this hard session yesterday and literally felt like I was going to black out, right? So because I was glycogen depleted.
Yeah.
So the meal that I had the night before wasn't very carby. Did 4 times 8 minutes at 3:45. Felt honestly like I was about to die, and literally like got home and was so lightheaded. Like I literally felt like I was gonna like hit the deck.
Yeah.
Right. And I had the most, just you said protein shaker. I had the most Larry protein shake. It was just delicious.
Yeah.
So like filled it with frozen strawberries, loads of oats, 3 big scoops of Ghost cookie.
Yeah.
Again, not an advert. Why, by the way, do we not have adverts like this? These companies should just pay us. And then 2 bananas, like literally just the filthiest, like protein shake.
Chucking it.
Gone, and then just lay down on the floor for like 25 minutes.
Wait,
and I
really
was
kick
like,
in.
This is just lovely, and I could kind of, you can kind of feel it
come
just
back.
oozing into down your veins.
They're so nice that after a hard session, you're depleted and you just like absorb carbohydrates and you just like, you can feel it filling your body and your blood's just like pumping with it.
It's just delicious.
It's great.
Yeah.
I love it. I think it's one of the beautiful parts about all this stuff is like after a hard session is like
reward.
Having a beautiful, like even it's something that, you know, day to day you would always have. It's like, no, I'm gonna smash down a fat, like a good pizza is like, hits.
Pizza's so
good. Where'd you go to?
Grasso in town do a great pizza.
Nice.
I order from Melanzana because it's just really local and it's actually very good. There's lots of pizzas. I like Bread Stall, but
they're fantastic.
You have to kind of be in the mood for one though. They're heavy. They're quite
I get the hot honey one.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Delicious.
Yeah. Big fan of that.
So tell us a bit about the challenge that you're doing this weekend.
So June 21st. So this will be going out after I've either completed or failed this challenge.
You shall complete, my friend.
I shall complete. Thank you very much. Longest day of the year. So I'm making the most of the longest day of the year by running from the east coast of the UK just outside Newcastle, Tyneside, across the west coast. It's a place called Bowness and Solway, and that's just outside Carlisle. So 140 kilometres, starting at sunrise. I've got until sunset to make it across the other side. So I'm racing against the sun. Technically not the sun, I'm racing against the rotation of the earth, but it's got about 17 hours of daylight on that day. I've got 140 kilometers to do, and I'm fully racing against the sun. It's my first project with Red Bull, which is wicked. I'm so happy to be doing stuff with them. But they take things seriously. So that's why they sent me out to Austria to do all my testing. They're like, right, we need to make sure you can actually do this, and throwing their resources behind it. So it's the first project I'm doing which is live streamed as well.
Oh, cool.
So they've got the live stream on there. They've got the tracking system is built into the live stream. So you can see me versus the sun against each other across the distance. Countdown on there also means like, there is no, it's like during ultramarathons, like you probably don't want people to be watching you all the time. This is it. It's on the entire way through there. So I'm excited about that because it just means people can hear me chat a bunch of waffle as I'm moving across. But it's also quite nice because there's so many moments during these challenges that you're up against it, and it'd be interesting to see like how that affects when there's a camera on you the entire time going through it, and just having to like just crack on through. So 140 kilometers, 1,800 meters of elevation, mostly on B roads. So there's no trail, thankfully. It's just literally on the B roads, back roads, right by Hadrian's Wall, and from one side to the other. So by like 9:30ish PM, where it comes into sunset, either the sun will set first or I will hit the finish line first. But it's going to be pretty tight in there.
Well, mate, congrats. And I'm sure you'll smash it.
Thank you very much.
It's very exciting. Thanks so much for coming in.
Thank you for having me on.
Very kind and good to see you. And good luck.
Thank you so much, mate. Cheers.